Well, Kyle,
Yes, Garrett.
we did it.
Stay back. I shall join you. Ours is the power to create.
About a month ago, me and my best friend here beat Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, at least 6.0. As you all know, there's more than one set of credits when it comes to beating Final Fantasy XIV installments.
There's more to come.
Yes, but we're here to talk about the End of Endwalker.
And the next chapter, too.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna. If you thought we were done cooking, you haven't been paying attention. Or have you? Actually, that's really accusatory. So, you want to talk about Endwalker?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, cool. Did you like it?
Yes. 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 It was an ending. It was an actual ending, but it's an MMO, and it continues. I'm happy we took a month to process this, and now we're recording the video because it was emotionally weighted. We did multiple streams discussing it.
Yep.
Check it out. If you want more like the raw actual stream, you can go do that. You can check out our Super Forum stream if you want to see like us process the grief, the emotions of it.
Yes. Go watch all those. We're probably not gonna get too deep into like the silent sacrifice. I'm already cooking. I have a sinking suspicion we're gonna want to talk more about what each scion holds dear to themselves, as Vina pointed out, and how that ties into their sacrifice, but I think it's also going to tie into what they're doing in the patch content. I'm also kind of placing a bet that that's going to happen.
Hey everyone, literally wrapping up the edit on this video and realized we didn't record any sort of promo. Just want to say thanks. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on this journey with us, whether you've been with us since our very first stream all the way back when we were playing Heaven's Ward, or if you just started watching with this video. Whatever the case is, thank you so much for the support, everyone. We wouldn't have made this many videos, done this many streams, kept going at it for as long as we had if you weren't watching, if you weren't supporting. I mean, it'd be weird. We'd just be like recording videos and showing them to no one, I guess. At the time of recording this, we're doing 6.1 tonight, so hope you enjoy everything we've got coming ahead of us. So anyways, thanks again so much for coming on this journey with us, everybody. If you want to go the extra mile on support, check out supportourbromance.com. That's our Patreon. It'll take you right there. All kinds of perks and stuff that I could bore you with, but I'm going to keep it short. Let's get back to talking about the big finale of Endwalker. Thanks again, everyone.
I'm not going to say we're not going to talk about certain things. So let me just make a list of things that were great, and then we'll move on. How's that sound?
Sure.
Okay, Lunch with the Scions. Awesome. Fortuno forgiving his father. Awesome. Fish Wizard cameo. Freaking fabulous. Putting primals in the engines. Wonderful.
Let us revel!
Cough Drop and his self-destructive band of boogers. Loved it.
It was okay. That wasn't the best part.
I think it is all summed up by one Y'shtola.
It's about time you give Y'shtola some respect.
When confronted with Medion doing their, oh my god, all life is bullshit, she's like,
Just to be clear, we're not here to argue with you.
all the sacrifice scenes, but especially Graha. For me.
Yes.
For me
Yes.
personally.
Yes.
And robots replacing their flesh with metal. I can't get enough of it. Just love it.
From the moment I understood the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me.
Wait, you're not a robot if you had flesh.
Well, yeah, well,
Maybe a cyborg.
Well, no, they became, yes. So, people, Omicronians, replacing their flesh to become robots. Or are they cyborgs? Well, that's a good question. But they uploaded themselves. So I'm actually not sure of the terminology in that case. Because you're a cyborg if you put your brain in a robot. But if you upload yourself and you're now data and you download yourself into a robot, I think you're a robot.
That's honestly the key debate at the core of a lot of science fiction. It's not easy to answer. That's why there's entire science fiction stories.
That's why the
about
robot's
that.
saying, am I human? You know, do I still exist?
Yes. Yes.
How much did I lose?
Yes. Yeah.
There's more I absolutely adore about this, but I'm assuming we're going to talk about those things.
Yes. Yeah. There's so many things. You didn't ask me if I liked it, but I'll ask myself. And yes, I did quite.
You like those things?
I quite enjoyed Endwalker as a whole. I think I like Shadowbringers a little bit better personally. Actually, that's a question everyone keeps asking, so let's answer that right here and now. Kyle, do you prefer Endwalker or Shadowbringers?
Bad endings can ruin things. I like Endwalker. If Endwalker was bad, I would not go back to Shadowbringers and be like, yeah, but I enjoyed my time. Nope, it's ruined. Bad endings ruin things.
I really like them both, and this is absolutely splitting hairs, but I do prefer Shadowbringers a little bit. It was more focused, and I like that about Shadowbringers.
I think that's one of the hardest conversations to have about Endwalker. The lack of focus and how it worked.
Yeah, I don't want to be misunderstood as saying that I think more focused is greater than less focused. I just personally prefer more focused. I don't think I would want Endwalker to be more focused. I have a couple minor quibbles, edits I would make to a game that is experienced linearly, mostly the Laparit section before the finale.
I'm not even talking highs and lows. I'm just saying I can't physically, because I'm not a robot or a cyborg, maintain
That we know of.
all these thoughts in my head at once. I can't picture Quintus, the towers, Hermes, Elpis, and the end all in one brain space. I have to take it in chapters like we do here.
That's fair. I'm curious how I feel about it in like a year, looking back on it. Like what will my memory think of? Like how will I yada yada Endwalker? Because I yada yada Shadowbringers as the story of Emmett Selk and the First. And I love that. But with Endwalker, I'm like, I think overall it'll be like, I'm going to yada yada it to like, it's a story of the ancients and hope, like more than anything else. And I think that's a pretty rad way to kind of put it all together. And Shadowbringers is all over the place. Every zone you go to has a new kind of group that you contend with, and they have their own plight. And if you try and explain that, you can get bogged down because there's a lot going on there. But it's all in service of the same thing. And well, you could say that about Endwalker. It's like maybe their side in some cases, Endwalker's less focused bits are interesting enough that I glom onto them and it stops me in my tracks. I don't know, because I think of Garlemald, I'm like, it didn't, other than it literally porting your ass to the moon, which is pretty integral to the story, it doesn't really play into the journey to Elpis all that much. It's also fresher, who knows, recency bias, but it really just boils down to, I think the first is cooler than pretty much any of the zones except for Ultima Thule. Ultima Thule fucking rules. Elpis is neat, but it's a little hunky-dory park in the sunshine compared to like the first. And I also prefer Emmett Selk as a villain.
Behold the coming oblivion.
And I don't mind him. I really like how he came back, because oh boy, can I get really mad when you bring back a character I thought was dead, and actually you bring back a character who is actually dead. He's dead. But they find a way to bring him back without returning him to life, if that makes sense.
And it's not a rehash because he is now remembering all his past self and bringing that in conjunction with who he was.
Elpis is there to kind of, it gives us backstory of Vana, and it humanizes two characters that we thought mostly of as villains heading into this, which would be your Emmett Selk, your Hades, and your Fandaniel and your Hermes. You realize that Emmett had the best of intentions, and he was a good dude, and also he literally had his brain wiped.
There is a gaping hole in my memories.
Which he probably wouldn't have acted the way that he did with us if he had an intact memory, which I love. I love that about Elpis. Let's start where I want to start, which is with Emmett Selk.
Very
I am
well.
selfish.
Go on.
Let me be selfish. At some point on some stream or a video, I don't know. We spent so much time talking about Final Fantasy XIV that any ability I may have of actually remembering when I say one thing in particular is actually impossible. Can't do it. Doesn't matter. Maybe when I'll die, like an ancient, it will all come rushing back to me.
It's hard to keep it all in your head.
But I like it right out the gate. You summon Hithlo and Emmett, and I am given exactly something I asked for, which was immediate embarrassment of Emmett Selk as he is brought back from the freaking live stream, and he's embarrassed because he now remembers our time hanging out on Elpis.
I bid them remember, but all this time I'm the one who had forgotten. A right fool you've made of me, Hermes.
I said that's what I wanted, and literally with his first words back, that's exactly what I get.
Hithlo also says that was quite the stall, in his own words, so that was nice.
I, for one, would have been perfectly content to watch Enraptured from the stalls.
They just die. They devolve immediately into their Statler and Waldorf bullshit, and I love it.
Oh, it's very Shakespeare. What hath over yonder hill as they watch on?
Oh, I like that Emmett is like annoyed that he was, I think his words were something like denied a restful slumber or something of that. And Hithlo's like, what are you talking about? What a great story. It had everything. He starts listing off all the awesome parts that build up this story. And I see your character development and I appreciate it.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern waiting for Godot. Like, this is a popular black box theater motif. And it works. And they are checking boxes you may not have known you had. Like, why don't they just come back and hang around and be like gods?
Of course. The Encore is finished.
They don't want to. I love that Emmett is like, I'm not going to live this farce, this joke of a life that Heidelin set up for me. I'm out. I'm tired.
And yet Hithlo leaves the door open to be like, maybe.
I don't know. Something could happen.
Maybe they will.
You want to go leave some crystals laying around or something? Like, it can happen.
Yeah, basically like,
I pray we meet again. If not in this life, then perhaps another. Whensoever it should be, I trust it will be a most joyous reunion.
hints at reincarnation. Like, so who knows? I hope if something happens with them or their souls down the road. I hope it's very far down the road. Let me miss these characters.
Yes, you would need a long time before some cutscene pans over a little baby with white long hair and yellow eyes being born.
For all of it's not as good as the Infinity War arc, it's something I quite respect about MCU. They have not broken Robert Downey Jr. glass in case of emergency yet.
No.
Even though it's kind of mid ever since Infinity War.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, except for Loki. Loki's incredible.
Yeah, Loki's fun. But an unexplored side character.
Yeah, well, yes,
Much-
to that depth.
Much like possible Asians waiting in the wings, right? Like we haven't seen them all. We haven't done the full list yet. There could still be more Asians out there now. Well, I guess if we're going off of Lakshmi, they'd still be enthralled, possibly. Boy, that feels like a bit too much to get into. So pardon me. Just
Get out.
I'm done. I'm done. Back to Emmett Hour.
Is that your call? That's
The
how long
Emmett
this
Hour,
conversation is going to
yeah.
take. And they're covering bases in this moment. Emmett is just like, well, we don't have the power to defeat you anyway, so don't worry about it. But even if we did, it's not our duty. He's just like, because that was a thought I did have in the moment. It was like, well, hold on, you're here and you're more powerful than us, so why don't you do something? And Emmett's like, we're like half. I think he even refers to himself as half fated.
It's the same thing that happened with Gaius. He couldn't be the one to take back Garlemald because history would see it as yet another Garlean struggle. It had to be the nations gathering together to defeat Garlemald.
Well, yes.
So an Ascian killing an Ascian construct would just mean more Ascian rule for all ages.
Well, yes, but that's only half of what Emmett is saying in terms of like covering the canon bases. He leads with, we do not have the power to defeat you. And he closes with, and we wouldn't even if we did, because that's not our job anymore.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So this is the full redemptive closing of the circle for Emmett Selk here. He is highly self-aware. Doesn't mean he's any less of a catty bitch.
Oh yes, I can imagine you gloating over my forgetfulness.
Which I'm so glad, because please do not get rid of the catty bitchiness of one Emmett Selk. But I see him as fully redeemed in this moment and throughout it, because he just kind of keeps being extremely healthily self-aware.
Well, and they expertly wiggled through so many things here, like the one you just mentioned, and bringing back the Scions, because they were very clear that their souls were lingering. In fact, I love the line,
In case the practical implications were lost on you, your comrades no longer need fight their fight.
you can stop working so hard now to keep up the damn air, wind, bridges, and everything else you're doing. Let's get those souls back in some ether-made bodies here. And bodies are just ether, so hey, they can be resurrected. They were never gone forever in the first place. They were able to re-inhabit themselves.
Yeah.
So it's all absurdly, vulgarly clean how they pulled this off.
Yeah, it is. There's so many great character moments here for Emmett. If I had one critique, I'd say Hithlo definitely takes a backseat in the scene. I would have liked to Hithlo have more of a mic drop moment, because Emmett gets a beautiful mic drop moment. Insert clip here.
You will not end our journey. That is our answer. The answer of all lives of Atheris, past and present.
Good stuff. Thinking back to the end of Katisa's Hyperborea, he's pretty angry. He kind of pulls it together at the end as the Warrior of Light is going off, and he's yelling meaningful things that will stick with you. But in the moment, he's like kind of spitting at Hermes and mad at Meteon.
That is sophistry, and you know it.
But here he's in full control and delivers this beautiful line and just throws it in Meteon's face. There's our answer. Take our hope and choke on it.
I think it dismisses how much Hithlo did off screen. There's no way Emmett, sitting beneath dark waters, watching this damn play fly out, would have entered this scene with any composure. He'd be pissed as hell. He'd kill Meteon. But Hithlo Deus was there to be like, now. It's the Warrior of Light's job, Emmett. You just support him in this endeavor.
Oh yeah, they're just sitting in like Blue's Clues' living room and 2 armchairs. Just, hey, it's good to see you, friend.
They're just yelling at the TV the whole time. Well, Emmett is.
It's the Super Bowl. Just,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, come on, ref.
And Hitler's there like rolling his eyes and being like, oh, Emmett, it's going to be fine.
What was that, warrior of light? I told you to be the best of us.
I think Hitler did a lot.
That's
I think
fair.
he's the better half.
I think I would have liked just one of Hitler's like overly positive replies to like kind of land on Emmett more, because Emmett just kind of hand waves him away, which is their relationship. But, just once I would have been like him just be like, oh, you got me in the feels there, old friend.
I think Hitler did have his moment when he was like, behold how awesome our creation magics are. He really led that show.
Shit, you're right. You have countered my Emmett fandom. So we end up calling back the scions via Azim's crystal, which I'm just glad for. I'm not a big fan of false deaths. I feel like the game goes out of its way pretty early on during the Scion sacrifice to kind of assuage concerns about that anyway. Plus, I saw a Dawn trailer, though I saw Minfilia in Shadowbringers trailer, and I thought it was Minfilia, and it wasn't, so I never knew how much to trust the Dawn trailer in the first place. But yeah, it was cool to kind of see this all roll out in the moment. I love how they tie in with so many different pieces of magic and lore and canon up to this point that we're like, by our powers combined.
Ours is the power to create.
And those powers combined are the creation magics of Emma and Hitlo, but also once again using Azim's crystal for something really memorable and like shonen epic, as much as the first time we use it to make Duty Finder canon in Shadowbringers. Like it's just such it makes my brain geek out on like every level that I can geek out with enjoying a story. And here it's that extra level also of just like, I like it when game mechanics have in-world explanations. It just makes me happy. And then here it is. Here's like the bow on like Emmett finding peace. First, he's a total Chad.
And I will not suffer myself to live again by Hydeline's magic.
It's like, I always choose to, I was a very sarcastic shepherd. I always chose the
Renegade.
Edgy response, but not full on renegade. I was kind of gray in my Mass Effect playthrough, but I liked, when people piss me off, I gave them the.
Well, of course. That's why you stock up the good points.
And that's Emmett here. He's doing the right thing, but he's choosing that attitude response. And then we get to Emmett properly finding peace.
The future you seek is not the past we loved. That is why we fought, and why I lost.
So that's very profound and healthy. And I this is why I say like Emmett is properly redeemed. Still did some pretty awful things, but as a character, no longer holds on to that. And like a Vegeta from a Dragon Ball Z, a Darth Vader from a Star Wars, when you play on an operatic scale this large, you deal with heinous deeds that if this was the real world, you'd probably send them to trial for war crimes. But this is an epic opera stage. And so that's just the level of punches that are being thrown between our heroes and our villains.
Plus he lost his memories, so, can you hold it against?
Exactly. That's what I really like about this. And I like the way they tell it in the story, because you and I both kind of have an issue with the demon slayerification of humanizing our villains, where you're evil, you're evil, you're evil, you're evil. And as I'm about to cut off your head, watch this flashback on why they're so tortured. I just don't know. No, like they made me go on that journey, and it wasn't formulaic. We went to Elpis when it was real, when it was right for the story to send us to Elpis. They found a way to like Tarantino their story through linear gameplay. Of course, they ended up using time travel. I don't know how else you would have possibly done that, but I think it was very well executed.
We have the same thing going on with Medion. We end up in the twin sacrifice meeting the Medion that Hermes was talking to, that we met while we were on Elpis.
Which I was kind of confused about at first, because she's black and white, but she turned black and white before she left Katesis, so that makes sense. But like I was going back through footage this morning in preparation for this. The part that had kind of fallen out of my brain was the dead sun above us and like what that embodied. And I was like, yeah, Medion, she turns into Endsinger. No. She like turns back into the blue Starbird and flies into the dead sun, and then Endsinger appears. But right before she does so, she's like begging us, like, stop me or stop her. Silence our song of Oblivion. She literally says that before she flies into the bloop, the king from the live action Super Mario Brothers movie.
How dare you steal my joke?
Well, I did. I didn't mean to. Such robbery was not my intention.
I said that on stream when it was pooping down.
I legitimately don't remember that. I legitimately don't remember that.
Because you're absolutely
this
right.
Is why we're voting
it does
friends.
Poop down. It's a sight to behold.
Oh yeah. This is why we get along.
But to me, what it communicated was that the other Medions weren't given the attention and love from Hermes. They were sent out as tools much earlier into space. And this particular one was the one that loved Hermes, which is why it's hearing the echoes of what he said.
Though I gave you these wings to soar the heavens, I did not teach you how to walk the earth. So loath was I to bind another living being.
When they summon the Field of Flowers, that's the first major crack. Or honestly, it might be the killing blow. I say the first crack was like Thancred standing up to Medion, and every scion along the way standing up to Medion, and Graha really shakes her because she doesn't even have a response.
Well, and then the twins, there's no one there but her. She's the one now blocking the door, not some dead civilization. Well, and they have to respond directly to her with the cool teleporting to the ears business.
Was her kind of it was her memory of those civilizations. That's why it would turn into the Starbird again when every time a scion would sacrifice themselves.
Yeah.
At least that's my read on the situation. It was really more the Field of Elpis flowers appearing and the words of Hermes that made me think of Emmett's redemption here, as much as it's also kind of Hermes' redemption, because it made me think back to that, and it's Hermes' words that are like the final blow to Medion, but it made me think of our time at Elpis, and it reminded me of the mind-altering state, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, like what a great character, what a great journey for this frenemy of Emmett Selk, but also for Hermes.
When we return to the star, it is beautiful, always.
If not a little painful and tragic.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, in this case of Vanash, she didn't get to return, so
well, and
really
Hermes is
there.
like super hell with Asahi.
Tell me, have you been to the ruins beneath the waters of the Bounty?
Before we talk about Endsinger, we got to talk about welcome to Emmett's Teaser Emporium, home of all of the things you should stay subscribed for.
Stay subbed. It's good.
Yeah, and now that we know the Dawn Trail's right around the corner, we can pick out some things in that cavalcade shotgun approach of all of the things that we're going to experience that are direct call forwards to what's going to that we know of the things we know is going to happen in Dawn Trail.
There's a surprising amount of Asm unexplored at the end of this.
How so? What's on your mind?
We're not, merged up. We don't really know who that was fighting volcanoes.
Do we want to be?
We've got reflections out there in the universe.
We don't want a rejoining. That's what the Asians wanted. That's not what we want.
I want to meet my reflections.
I mean, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I'm into that. I'm into that shit.
What about all the gods, of which we rejected?
The true identities of the 12, for instance.
Well, we have comments that can't contain themselves, so I think that has something to do with the patch content.
Yeah, the patch content's coming up.
Seems like that probably ties into the 12 in some way.
More so, there's a surprising amount of what I would call like core lore that we can still play with. Whether it might be life stream, leftover Asians of the council, and the big one here is the reflections. Absolutely. Roll the Emmett lines.
Some of the civilizations in the reflections will surprise you.
And if you go back to the dinner with Thancred Y'shtola and Orianger, you have this entire scene with...
What with the primals and Asians all but dealt with?
A journey for journey's sake.
I wish to know the state of the reflections, to which end I must find a means to travel between worlds.
More reflections still to go, like the game is on blast. Plus, optional dialogue Nero line, where he says, The world shall tremble before my genius soon enough, assuming you're able to prevent the destruction that awaits. So, the Nero expansion, where Nero again accidentally destroys the world almost.
Yeah, of known quantities, I just so badly want to return to the first and adventure on the first, and I want Thancred and Breen to be able to see each other again, and I want to check back in with that character. So for known things, like, cool, yeah, let's open up reflection travel again. But maybe not in Dawn Trail. Let's, again, let me miss the first. Let me miss Reen. Let me miss Lena. All of that. You still have an arc with Runar. Is there a chance? Is there really, truly hope there?
Well, that's who she says she has a promise to. So, yes, it's going to happen someday, but not now. I agree. Let's take a big break.
They add romance options to Final Fantasy XIV, then don't you dare do that.
And you have Graha at the very end being like, you know what I would find interesting? Omicronians. Would you like to find maybe the civilizations they didn't destroy, or maybe find some real Omicronians that didn't jump inside robots? That would be kind of cool. What do you think?
What if they just do an Omega Raid 2?
Leave a comment below if you'd like us to do that in a future expansion.
Like a sequel to Omega. You could also do an expansion off of it, I'm sure, at least a zone and an expansion, but how cool would it just be to Omega 2?
Our scions are not currently interdimensional. We went to the edge of space. We've gone to the first. But currently, we process this via technology in a very laborious way. And in the case of our first travels, pure magic. We are not in control of it yet. So there is so much room to go. But we're both in agreement. Let's just let Dawn Trail be its thing.
Let's ground ourselves back in the star.
Where people don't know who we are, Who's to say the final days even went down in those new areas we're going to?
Yeah.
Why would they give a crap about the Warrior of Light?
Now, granted, we always agreed to do things that were probably beneath our accomplishments. Much like the Guardians of the Galaxy, we should probably be charging double now as 6-time world savers. I think the reset of Dawn Trail will make that feel even more natural because of what you're saying. We're in the new world, as we over in Eorzea like to refer to it as. Why should they give a crap? And we're nice. We leave a good tip on Uber. We always tip on takeout. We never say, do you know who I am? Unless the game gives you that option and maybe you clicked on that and then I judge you. But hey.
Did you take the launch scene from Alphino? Did you do that?
Me? But I...
So you are finally here. In this place between death and rebirth. Where life knows no dawn. Come then. Follow me down into the darkest depths of despair.
The dungeon was awesome.
The dungeon was dope. It was exactly what I wanted, even though I didn't know that was what I wanted, was to kind of battle through. It's a nice mix, because if they didn't have that, I think at the end of Ultima Thule, I would have been like, boy, I wish there was some more gameplay oriented ways to kind of show us the dead civilizations in the memory of Medion.
They really hit home. The dragon civilization, the booger civilization, and the Omicrons.
Cough drop. I disrespected Cough Drop earlier, and now you're disrespecting Cough.
They're so freaking cute, and the fact they want to die, it's comedy gold.
It's great.
They want to feed us lunch, and they can't. They try their best. They're wonderful. And they think this is an absolute shock to Y'shtola, and she's like, okay, grats.
Okay, so who cares?
Check out my organic body, nerds.
I know more than you.
But the dungeon allowed for that and more moment.
Yes.
We got to see seals with their faces melting due to plague. We got to see Helldiver's dimension.
Oh yeah, praise Rala.
Praise Rala.
Praise Rala, Kyle.
And
what a cool monster.
Because we zoom through them, your brain just goes, and many more too.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly,
fills it out.
No, I think they all. I don't want to get into it, and because I didn't want to do the work, but I think they all line up with Medion's report,
and it's all that tapestry of nihilism that Hermes and Zenos are all a part of.
Tapestry of nihilism. That's gonna be my next band.
Tapestry of Nihilism. It's a pretty good band name, isn't it?
Tapestry of Nihilism.
That's pretty sick.
You going to see Ton this weekend?
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah. I like their first album's my favorite. You know, the new stuff, it got a little...
I sold out.
We get through the dead ends, and we get to one of the coolest extended cutscenes in all of Final Fantasy XIV.
I loved it. I loved the preview of mechanics by kicking Scion butt.
Right? Dude, when the tears came out and like...
Yeah, when they're blowing across the
Straight
floor.
line.
Throwing whole dead civilizations at your enemies.
The pool that I think hit Y'shtola gave me instant Wrath of the Lich King PTSD because it looks very similar to Defile, which is one of my most memorable boss fight mechanics in the history of me playing MMO endgames.
It's very video game. I know we're in the video game this time. We're not watching...
It's very shonen anime.
Yeah. But we're not watching like a TV show adaptation of a video game, but it's very video. They are being faced with mechanics, and it's doing that same thing I love that happens in Star Trek to poor Worf's face, or Superman and Justice League. Everyone's getting their ass kicked to show how amazing Endsinger is.
It reminded me so much of 5-0. As we're walking up towards Emmett with the universe behind him, he starts owning all the Scions. In a very similar fashion, it's shot in a very similar way.
Might be my favorite moment, Estinian choosing to just dive a planet heading his way.
After he jumps up and like Endsinger looks at him and then spawns the planet.
Yeah, yeah. So he does keep going though. He doesn't try to pull out of it. He thinks he's gonna go straight through.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's every character behaves the way that they should.
Just the model, like just the wings and no body at all, just this like otherworldly doll head.
There were so many things I like about the Endsinger monster design, but first off, I'm just a sucker for wings. But my absolute favorite thing about the design is that in between the wings, because there's no body, there's just nothing there. It is a void. And at first I thought the skybox just kind of gradated to like kind of black space, but no, because when she spreads her wings, the void spreads with it, and it's like it's very cool. I love
She's
that.
one with it. My only real question is, what was the baby necklace? She got a baby. A little baby jumped out of her necklace. That was weird.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like an ad. Hey, there was an ad phase in the middle where her little baby person.
That's upsetting.
It was weird.
Gross.
But I'm getting ahead of ourselves. Because first, we teleport everybody away in heroic fashion.
Oh yeah,
they are getting owned.
Everyone gets their butt kicked, and then we activate the teleport and we throw it.
Yeah, cool stuff.
Stylish. They all go away. And I guess we assumed we were going to face down Endsinger alone. Except, who should show up?
Resolved to help.
In the most insulting way possible.
Well, yes, and he was there.
I love this part.
He was standing at Alamigo thinking to himself, actually, he got really hurt by Alizé's line is what happened. He was just standing there.
Actually, yeah. And I remember in the moment when he shows up in Garlemald and Alizé and Euless yell at him, I'm like, I like this moment, but like, what's the point? It's Zenos. It's not going to get to him, but it did. It got to him.
Yeah, and he had to think to himself, how am I going to get my end? I'm going to have to get my friend over his little hump here of saving the universe first. And so he frenemied.
He did frenemy. Yeah, it was a thing I was hoping for, and then I abandoned hope on it, and I should have held strong because I got it. I got what I wanted, just not necessarily the way I thought that it would go down. I didn't think Zenos was going to become Shinryu again.
No, but I guess there were leftovers after the great primal summoning, and he feasted on them and flew through space.
Why wouldn't you?
How you do, you know?
Why wouldn't you?
After a great meal.
Dining on not the moon. Turns out Zenos eats the mother crystal.
Yeah, Zenos eats Hydaelyn stuff.
Zenos does eat an object of power. It just wasn't the moon.
No, it wasn't the moon. I was wrong about that part.
No, but you were right that Zenos eating something is a major plot point.
He did. You're right.
I really cannot express how mad I am that how close to right you were.
Not terribly far off. Thank you. I didn't really think about it.
You're thanking me for still like begrudging you, but hey, yeah, whatever, buddy. I'm happy for you. You unhinged madman.
Excellent.
Yeah, I love that he shows up and he's just like, this thing?
That's
what Why isn't it already dead?
This is keeping you down?
Like what? It's what he calls it something as benign as despair. What a fucking quote. It's so good. It's so, like, I want everyone, like everyone should think of Zenos when something bad happens to you. Like heavy shit. Like something really got you down. Like whatever it might be, you know, family, life, your job. Someone backed into your wife's car last week. Just think of Zenos' line of just, despair is benign. Get over it. What?
Let's kick its ass.
You're going to let despair get you down? Come on, you've been through worse than that.
You're not the man I fell in love with.
Dude, this did it. This saved Zenos for me. I thought, you know, I loved the kind of his big moment in Garlemald where he steals your body. I thought that was such a great villainous moment, such a great use of different story beats that had already happened over the course of Final Fantasy XIV. But then after that, I was like, I kept saying it in these videos on stream. Anytime anyone bring up Zenos, after that, after we defeat Zodiark, the whole time I've just been saying the same thing when people are like, Garrett, how do you feel about Zenos? I'm like, small potatoes. It just seems so insignificant. Why didn't we just like kill him after Zodiark? Because he just seemed like, how does he fit into the story? Why does he matter? We now know, especially after Elpis, that there's literally a manifestation of despair at the edge of the universe that has the power to destroy everything. Who gives a crap about Zenos? I do. The answer, me, now. The second he broke through fucking reality in Shinryu form so that the Warrior of Light could fly on his back, pull out the Asm Crystal, do one more canonical summoning on a platform made of Shinryu to beat the crap out of this massive monster ahead of him. It's great. It is. Don't you want to buy a van so that you can airbrush that shit on the side of it?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Ooh, yeah, Shinryu van? Hell yeah.
First half of the trial, I don't have a whole lot to say other than I love the mechanics of the fight.
Adds even more weight to the fact that they went through and made a support duty for the Scions versus Hydaelyn, but not here.
I love the twist. I didn't really get it at the moment, but we've talked to so many of our friends and our community afterwards, but like the fact that the Warrior of Light, you're the boss. Like there's that midpoint where a cutscene plays and a track called With Hearts Aligned starts playing. But what's really important about that track is that it's a even more dope. It's like the coolest version of Maker's Ruin you've ever heard, which is used as the Warrior of Light's theme. It's a motif that's used as a Warrior of Light's theme throughout all of Final Fantasy XIV. But the version that plays in that cutscene is awesome because it like opens up with like super distorted guitar power chords. And then it goes into ba 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 ba, which is Maker's Ruin. That's the motif. Okay. And it's so good. It's so, and yeah, you go back and you rewatch that footage, and yeah, and Singer's just getting her ass kicked the whole time. I'm sure they find a way for the extreme to like be horrible and nigh impossible to beat, but your first time through, yeah, there's still stuff you need to dodge and whatnot, but like if you look at the boss model, she's just getting her ass kicked. She's in pain. She's reeling the entire time from the cutscene midpoint onward.
She's flailing.
You're the boss. Like imagine you're playing one of your FromSoft games and you bring the Latin opera music with you.
The boss starts rolling around and hiding in corners and trying to drink, and you keep kicking their ass.
Yeah, you're like, why is Margit dodge rolling so much? And you're like, because he's afraid.
The whole thing is just impressive from an MMO design standpoint. Everything in there could be a fireball, but instead it's a whole planet rewinding, stopping, going the other direction. Then it's like, let's do two at the same time.
Even when I got hit, I loved it because I'm like, I don't care. I was too busy looking at it. It's cool.
It's so cool that she's summoning these dead worlds. There's also a nice little nod to A Realm Reborn. It's a shot for shot, at least on two characters, recreation of praying for Grandpa. You got Thancred and Y'shtola in the exact same positions they were praying to defeat Bahamut back in the day. And here they all are powering you up with prayer and hope.
It's fucking epic. I got nothing. I wish you watched Succession because there's just Brian Cox, the guy that did the Tekken ad where he went through the lore of Tekken.
Oh, sure. Okay.
The final season of Succession, there's just a scene where he's in a newsroom and he's just like, I fucking love it here.
I fucking love it.
And that's how I feel about Final Fantasy XIV in this moment.
You could play that clip.
Yes, I'm going to.
Good, please do. It's freaking sweet. is what it is. And they still find that moment to bring it back down, and you get to carry out the little heart of Medion. It's still, even when you gotta kick the universe's ass, there's still some good in there.
I loved that we knew that Medion wanted to be saved, or at least stopped heading into the fight, because it gave you one more thing to fight for. You weren't just fighting to defeat Medion, you were also fighting to hopefully save Medion. Because from the get-go, I have seen Medion as a horribly tragic character. Didn't even ask to be made. It's just, which what millennial has thought to themselves, I didn't ask to be born at one point in their life. But
part of our story.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Medion is there's an essay somewhere about Medion is a stand-in for the millennial experience. But that's despair, and we shouldn't let something so benign keep us down.
She did doom scroll hard. And much like your good friends, fellow millennials, you should turn to each other and say, don't you like video games? You know what? Put down the Twitter and fight me.
Don't you love your shonen anime?
Maybe you don't like these video games, but tomorrow there might be better video games. Don't you want more video games? Don't you want more Final Fantasy 14?
Don't you want to stay subscribed to Final Fantasy 14? Don't you want to? Which, you know what? I make all the fun for it. At least they're making an appeal through cool story and not like, don't you? If you stay subscribed, you get a free like, nah.
I mean, you do get that sometimes, when they'll send you in the mail.
Well, that's like oh, right. Yeah, I guess you do get subscription. They don't like over advertise the living crap out of it.
There is stick, but there is carrot too.
It's still business. It's still money making.
There's no better time to resubscribe to Final Fantasy 14.
It's still a money making endeavor, but so is like every story I've ever given a shit about. I had to pay to see movies. I had to buy books.
I gotta buy corn,
because I can't even go to the museum and look at timeless works of art without paying admission.
A marathon, an absolute marathon of gaming.
I mean, we were up till 3 in the morning.
Easily.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It was great. Flies wildly. It turns blue at the end as Zensinger's being destroyed. The wings are a little more blue. They're not crazy saturated blue, but it's there.
It does
it's definitely there.
Turn back into Medion a little bit.
Yeah. But then we get to kind of what you think is going to be the somber ending, which reminded me a lot of the End of Eden, because we're here at the edge of the universe.
It's a dimension between sort of business.
Yeah, it reminded me of 11 in Stranger Things, when she'd end up in that black void with the water floor.
It's a lands between, it's a trope, absolutely, that you go to this between death zone, but you end up fighting Zenos here in a realm of wishes. He's getting his wish to fight you, and I would say I got my wish to survive and get out of there via teleportation device.
Yeah, I didn't even see it as a realm between death. I just saw it as a realm of Medion's making, and so we were in this pocket universe that we were kind of trapped in.
It is now devoid of Medion, and to be particular about it, it's a dimension of pure emotion.
Yeah.
And what a cool place to duel your frenemy to death.
Yeah. Fight to death inside Akasha.
Basically.
Dynamis.
It's a battle of passion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love this bit. We tie a lovely bow on the character of Medion here, where she goes back to that concept of answers. Also, I love how, before I get too far ahead of myself, I love how she started a conversation with Medion and she just goes back into her programmed opening lines.
Has to start up.
Yeah. Although alters it slightly, but beyond that, it's Medion works in a call center and this is her script. But I love the bow that's tied on here as Medion goes back to the answers and has a breakdown as she realizes that it wasn't about one answer. It was about everyone's answer for finding hope.
There was never a single answer.
Welcome and well met.
You gather pieces of happiness, precious and fragile, only to lose them, then start again. On and on it goes, until death takes you into its gentle embrace.
It's good shit for the empathy incarnate character. Medion, of course, drops the, hey, we're working with Wizard of Oz rules here. You want to go back? Just hold it in your heart, and I have the power to bring you home. Zenos shows up. This time we're we're going to go home. And Zenos is not yet. There's one thing.
You owe me.
Time is due. Although I found it interesting upon reviewing this. Do you want to know what stuck out to me in my reviewing of this scene? He says, if you want to leave, I will not stop you. But the game does not give you any options to walk away, which plays even more into the reason I chose the option that I chose.
And the option I chose too, but for different reasons.
We chose the same option for different reasons, although I don't think we disagreed with each other.
We were equally stoked by each other's response to why one was the right choice for us.
Yeah, we both went with that I can't deny. When Zenos is just like, you're just like me, you crave adventure, and even calls us adventurer.
Did you not enjoy this adventure? Did you not enjoy fighting me? Don't you like my extreme? All these things and more await you in my solo duty. Don't you want to see it?
Don't you love games, gamer? I see that. I see the meta side of it as like, wasn't this game great? Don't you want one more fight?
And we are the very person who punched the volcano.
And that's why I chose it. I saw that italicized adventurer, and I'm like, that's just Azim. Azim has been described as this character that's just like wanderlust incarnate, gonna go out, help as many people as they can, go on as many adventures as they can, see as many trials and challenges, and overcome as many of those, whatever gets in front of them, as they possibly can. And Zenos also refers to you, the warrior of light, as his mirror, and I think that's also very true, because Zenos is the same way, but like for selfish and evil reasons, and Azim and the warrior of light, they had that same personality type, but for selfless and helpful reasons.
And it doesn't change the end. You still punch him to death.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You still have a duel to the death where Zenos stops breathing. He is defeated. Dead.
Yeah, I don't think there's a wrong answer there. I get excited about it because I think Zenos telling you can walk away if you want, but there being no options to walk away is the game saying it's canon that you're Azim AF and you're here for this final trial, whatever comes of it. For your reasons or your own, every warrior of light is going to fight Zenos. Every Azim is going to fight Zenos.
And you owe him. I feel like you owe him. You did ride his back for the final trial.
100%, yeah.
You saved your bacon.
Yeah, my simplistic answer is that. Yeah, like, make good on the agreement. Like, Zenos as Shinryu literally helped you save existence. Least you can do is give the man what he wants.
On his back.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's fully redeemed. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm going to say, if there was a way for someone as horrible as Zenos to redeem themselves, I would say helping save all of existence is probably the closest thing one could accomplish.
And he even powers up. You don't change forms or anything, so it's an interesting exploration of your power that I'm curious to continue with my character.
And I just love the fight. I love that it devolves to fisticuffs. Legitimately good solo duty that devolves into a fantastic cutscene.
It's very Simon versus Anti-Spiral. You and I both love the end of the first John Wick. There's a point where the tools are gone, the special powers are gone, and you gotta reduce it down to fisticuffs.
You're just two tired guys punching in the rain.
It completely exhausted, reduced to your organic beings, heaving on the floor. Fabulous.
It's what I love in a good adventure. I like to watch the hero be taken down to their bare essentials.
Their primal nature, you could say.
Teleporter appears, but of whose heart's desire?
Koi answered, doesn't matter. You're in a dimension of dreams and wishes.
I don't think the game has a hard answer.
No.
I think it is left up to the player's interpretation on purpose.
It could be Zenos fulfilling his statement that you can leave if you want, and his final wish was that you survive.
My original read was it was you, like the Warrior of Light, as they are expiring, is thinking of the Scions, and that thought makes the teleporter appear. But I love other people's idea that it was Zenos better. I think that's cooler. I think that's adorable.
We also just saw the Scions praying as hard as they could. It could be their wish, too.
It could be their will, like, coming across. Yeah. Like, I mean, they're just still, like, physically close to this manifestation of Dynamis, right? Because they would be on the Ragnarok, still near Ultima Thule, near the dead sun, which who knows how Dynamis works. It's vague. It runs on emotion. But this nexus of Dynamis did have a physical location, at least a physical entry point. So You never know. I love this kind of shit. I love not having hard answers to this kind of stuff because it's fun. It's fun. You can make it your own. Or you can be a dick and yell at people who disagree with you on the internet.
Don't do that.
No,
I agree
please
with you.
don't.
I agree with Garrett here.
You can't leave us. Not like this. If you do, I'll never forgive you. So come on. Open your eyes and get up.
So we get ported back to the Ragnarok, reunited with all of the Scions. Alize, who's very upset and mad at us, also, though, confirms that Medion is still around. Because Medion appeared on the Ragnarok and said that we were right behind her. But we obviously took a while because we were too busy punching Zenos to death. Medion could be a character that returns.
Her bird flies around in the final moments of the expansion.
Yeah. Also part of that beautiful piece of art that I didn't understand when I got it at FanFest, signed by Soken and Koji. This over here. I got it hiding up here. I need to frame it. Yeah. Now she's also here in this beautiful piece of art that I did not understand when I got it at FanFest. Also, I thought Hermes was the Derplander there.
Oh,
Hermes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, because,
a little tall.
You kind of look like Ardbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's an ancient, so I just figured, although I didn't, actually, at the time of getting this, I didn't understand ancients. I didn't really scrutinize it. What I now know is Ancient Emmett, who I thought was Estinian because someone posted a white-haired character on my Twitter feed that I didn't know. I just ended up not scrutinizing it, but I'm like, what am I going to do? Not get this signed by Soken and Koji? Like, goddamn right. I got it signed, and I went like this. And I awkwardly forgot to talk to them because the translator was like, is there anything you want to say? Because obviously, Koji speaks fluent English, but the translator's like, anything you want to say to Soken or Koji? I was just standing there like an idiot grinning. So Meteion still around. I'm assuming at some point in a future expansion, we will run into Meteion again.
But no time soon, please.
With any luck. Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad, but, let's continue.
I mean, she could be a part of the patch count. That'd be kind of weird.
I mean, yeah, it could. It could be useful.
Maybe.
Maybe she's our Slimer now.
It's like in the cartoon?
Yeah. How like Slimer could talk to other ghosts who couldn't talk, so he could communicate.
I love that this is the credits. Like, it's a full scene plan. It's so classy. We're seeing voice actors' names with their character on screen as the scene is playing out, which I think is mad respectful. And then we take the weirdest path ever home.
Yeah, don't think about it too much.
None of those locations are in order.
No, we wouldn't be going to
We're
them.
like
just lost.
Zigzagging all over the place.
But hey, Hien, good to see you.
Where was Gosetsu?
Well, he's wandering around. Don't ruin it yet. We don't know where he is.
It doesn't, but we should have showed up. It's the end.
Yeah, out in the woods,
Yes.
he's all...
Right after Kugane, just like nondescript tree line, Gosetsu looks up.
I mean, he did say he was going to go toward the world. I'm down for Gosetsu Dawn Trail. Bring on Gosetsu Dawn Trail.
And then we get like our post-credits, our epilogue, which I was just so tired. I was like, how dare you make me read this much at 3 a.m?
It's
my fault.
Yes, there was a communication by the Scions there. Everyone in the room was like, you're up already? What are you doing here? I guess let's talk about stuff. I bet you most people at least went and got a snack. Like there is an excuse to take a decent sized break here.
Clip this and send it to any future streamers of Final Fantasy XIV. I have a tip for you. Clip just this part. If you're watching this and you're about to stream Final Fantasy XIV, don't back up because there's so many spoilers. It's like not even... This is a weird place to put a tip, but my tip to you, when you get to the very end, there's going to be a thing after the credits at the very end. Do it on another stream. Go to bed. Just go to sleep, digest,
process,
come back with energy and patience.
Later. Yeah, they have a lot to say.
Yes. And it's mostly a tease for patch content, which if you're playing this after the fact, it's all out. You can just go play it. You don't really need the tease. I think. But they immediately just start like hitting at so much shit. Emmett's teasing every expansion they could possibly ever make. And then you get to this scene and Alphino is penning a letter to his dad saying, "Dear Dad, we're lying to everybody, and I'm lying to you now. The Scions are disbanding, except they're not.
We're going to keep doing good deeds, but yes, the Scions, for what they were originally organized, kicking Ascian butt and dealing with primals, not exactly needed anymore."
Yeah, but they're still the Scions.
No, they're still going to do good deeds and probably kick some Ascian butt at some point.
The Scions still exist, just not publicly. They're just...
And they might kick primal butt, but not primals that mind control people, because that's an Ascian trick.
Although there could still be Ascians.
Yeah, exactly. There's still quite the list.
Just no paragons of the source. We have dealt with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Or have we?
See, yeah, plenty of threads to go.
Have we?
Have we?
You can't prove that we dealt with them all.
No.
No one's saying that Gaius is correct, that Gaius knows every paragon of the source that ever existed. I think we're both in agreement that the patch content is going to, each patch is going to be a Scion or a Scion pairing.
Seems that way.
Because we have Alphino and Alize, Thancred and Urianger, Kryl and Graha, Estinian, because your still is not paired off, and Estinian isn't paired off. So there's 5. And there's 5 patches and at a 0.55.
0.5. Those two kind of combine, right? The 5 and the 0.55, right? So it seems like a pretty way to do things before regathering everybody.
I could see this like 5 and 5.5 having a really clean break though. Like I think 0.5 is whatever the final Scion or Scion pairing is, and 0.55 is probably a direct lead into Drawn Trail.
There's so much that is being teased, and a lot of it does seem applicable directly to the Dawn Trail trailer. But as for patch content, I'm expecting what you're cooking. I just like the idea. I want to, after taking the Scions as a group for so long, just the sheer amount of optional dialogue to click 20 people in a room at once. Let's have one Thancred to click on with an Urianger, like maximum.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Really relaxing.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
The constancy of this place never ceases to amaze me.
That's definitely a Litibus. Why, like, a kid has such a rockin', old-sounding voice, I have no idea.
Who knows?
I don't care, because, oh my god, I love a Litibus's
Yeah.
voice.
On to 6.1, let's
All right,
do it.
Cool, yeah, I thought this kitchen was going to be closed a lot longer.
From the power of the future, we don't have to wait through the past. Dawn Trail's really soon.
Yeah, it is. And it's time for the patches, which a lot of people have led us to believe do not tie in all that much with Endwalker. But I bet they're wrong. I bet it ties directly into what Vana said about each Scion. So if you're watching this, tune into last night's VOD for 6.1. Coming in with our crew.
Yeah?
Freaking like 2 of my favorite content creators on this planet joining us, and like what a beautiful shot of us flying in, and we're just like, Jesus, that's Jesse and that's Joe. Wow, holy shit! Like it's cool. I'm not even bragging. I'm still
cool.
geeking.
Yeah.
I'm still geeking
We have
over
cool
the
friends.
moment.
It's okay to brag.